Welcome to No Boundaries. I'm your host, Dana Boyle. We've got episode 2 coming at you with Sam Lynch, Notre Dame women's lacrosse graduate attacker. She is a sixth year and most recently has been named to the Tour-a-thon watch list. First off, congratulations for being added to the Tour-a-thon watch list in the most recent editions. That's awesome. What does that mean to you?
It means a lot. I was really grateful and honored to be added to that list. We were on the bus to our game against UVA when I found out. I had my parents and my brothers and sisters were all texting me, so that was really cool. I think been trying to do whatever I can for the team for 6 years, and this year, that's been more scoring, and I think just really happy to contribute in any way I can, and if that ends up being on the list, then that's great.
Yeah, very well deserved. So just talk about in general, you're a sixth year at Notre Dame. Why come back? Kind of walk us through that decision. Obviously, Notre Dame women's lacrosse is doing something right if they got you back for a sixth year.
Yeah, totally. So the decision definitely happened over like a couple of months. Last year, I didn't decide to do it right away as soon as the announcement came out, although Chris, our coach, did ask me when we were in the airport coming back from Vanderbilt. As soon as the NCAA announced it, she asked me if I would do it, but I said, I'm not ready to make that decision just quite yet. But so I think first, academically and career-wise, so my original plan for this year was to kind of take a gap year and apply to medical school. And I had done a couple of interviews and applied for some jobs in healthcare and research, which with COVID kind of all got postponed and fell through. So I didn't really have a productive kind of anything really productive lined up for this year. So Chris called me and said, there's a lot of great grad programs at Notre Dame, especially in the business school. As an undergrad, I studied mechanical engineering and pre-professional studies, which was our pre-med track. So she said, I know you want to apply to medical school. Maybe having that business degree would be something that would make you stand out a lot, which I definitely agree with. So career-wise, that drove that. And then kind of family-wise, my brothers both go to Notre Dame. My brother Kevin is a sophomore on the men's team, and Michael's a freshman. And they're my best friends, and they really pushed me. They said they'd love to have me back on campus for another year. So that was definitely a big factor in the decision. And then the last thing, also family-wise, so the week that the season got canceled and I went home, I actually found out that my grandpa had COVID and was in the hospital. And he was my biggest fan kind of through everything, my entire life, all sports. And we had just been talking about playing UNC that weekend and all that stuff. And he ended up passing from COVID 2 months later. And I didn't get to talk to him about the decision to come back, but I knew that he would have wanted me to do it. He would have said that, I owe it to myself and my teammates and my team to kind of finish what we started and make that Final Four national championship run. So I decided I had one more year left in me and was ready to come back for year 6.
That's awesome. I just got emotional when you're talking about your grandfather, but what better way to honor him and, continue the legacy? So, who could win in the 1v1, you or your brothers, if you're going to cage?
Ooh, good question. We actually did take some 1v1s when we were home during quarantine, just because we were so bored and needed to get out some frustration. So Kevin plays defense, so I don't know if I could beat him. He's pretty good. Michael's a midi. Might be able to take him, but they actually, when we were in quarantine, they were going at it so much in the backyard that Kevin hit Michael in the eye and he had to get stitches, and all the hospitals were closed. So when he got the stitches put in, but then when he had to get them taken out, the doctor that put them in actually had COVID, so he couldn't go back into the office. So he told us, have someone in your family do it. So I took his stitches out, in our kitchen, just sliced them out and took them out.
Wait, you actually did that?
Yeah, it wasn't, I looked it up on YouTube. It wasn't that hard. So.
Well, I guess it's preparing you well to go into med school. So.
Exactly.
So let's do a few quick hit questions. These are just one word answers, just to learn a little bit about who Sam is off the lacrosse field. So what is your most played song on Spotify?
I'm going to go. So my team's been playing Levitating by Dua Lipa, and Bridget Dean just started singing it in the locker next to me. So I kind of like that right now.
That's awesome. One word that describes you as a person.
Okay, not the best word, but I try to just like caring, just trying to think about other people when I can.
Would you say that your team refers to you as the grandma? I heard that term get thrown around a few times, so I gotta ask.
Yeah, so that actually started last year when me and McKenna Pearsall were both 5th years. We were with the grandmas. And so this year I got promoted to great grandma. So yeah, that gets thrown around sometimes.
That's awesome. So if you had to pick any sport besides lacrosse to play, what would it be?
Ooh, okay. So in high school, I played soccer and basketball too. I actually played soccer with Taylor Marina, who was the last guest on your segment. She was the goalie. I played defense in front of her. But I think I would have to go with basketball. I used to think that I was going to like be in the WNBA, be a huge basketball player, but no, not as. No, had to go with lacrosse.
That's okay. I also thought that. I really wanted to play for Pat Summitt at University of Tennessee, and basketball is not my jam. So I feel you on that. It's just really cool in general. If you could hang out with one professional athlete, who would it be and why?
I would want to hang out with Skylar Diggins. She played basketball at Notre Dame. I used to think she was like the coolest person ever. And actually I took a class this fall with Muffet McGraw. It was a sports leadership class, which was awesome. And Muffet talked about like how great of a leader and competitor Skylar was. So I would definitely want to talk to her.
That's so awesome. Talk about another legend in women in sport.
Another legend in women's, like not lacrosse, just any sport.
Yeah. I mean, Muffet, I mean, the first one that comes to mind is Muffet McGraw.
Yeah, I just
you mentioned her.
Meeting her, I mean, she came to one of our games like 2 years ago because she actually coached Jessie Masinko, who's on our team. She coached her mom. So she came to one of our games to play, and that was like the coolest thing. I was on the field thinking, I can't mess up. Muffet's in the stands. And then when I saw she was coaching, she was teaching this class, I like had to be in it. You would apply to get into the class. I actually ended up taking it with some other of my teammates too. She just has such a cool perspective, like on women in sports. I mean, she's been a huge advocate for women in sports, especially over the last year or so. And just about how to be a great competitor, how to be a great teammate, be a great leader. Actually, after I got named to the Torton list, she sent me an email and just said like, quick congratulations. And it was the best thing ever. It was so cool. I screenshotted it and sent it to my mom. Like it was awesome.
I mean, I would print that out and like put it in a frame.
Yeah.
Like that is so cool. I loved watching her coach when I was a little girl, and now she's on the ACC network, and she's just doing so much for the sport of basketball, but also just all of us who like participate or have participated in sports. So that's a really neat story. You are very lucky. I mean, yeah, screenshot that email, save it forever, print it out. That's awesome. So a player who is not on your team that has really impressed you this season?
So just with our UNC game coming up this weekend and being an attacker, I mean, Jamie Ortega, she's impressing everyone. I think what's really impressing me is her shooting percentage right now, I think is like over 70%, which is insane. Since we're playing obviously all the same teams, when I go in and watch film, like I always try to watch her and like what she's doing against different defenses and try to see if I can get any of that in our games. But yeah, she's been really impressive, shooting really well.
That's awesome. So will it be weird to be shooting against Taylor Marino?
Yeah, so it was kind of weird. The first time 2 years ago was when we played at Arlotta, and she was like in the goal consistently, and I was on attack the whole time. We said hi before the game and everything. It brought me back to high school a little bit. She's obviously a phenomenal goalkeeper. She's so athletic. I mean, watching her, as good as she is as a lacrosse goalie, she was such a good soccer goalie. I think she was all state our senior year. She just is so athletic, and it's just so hard to tell what she's going to do.
So who is the worst dancer on your team?
Worst dancer? Probably me. I can't dance for my life. Everybody is really into like these TikTok dances now, especially like MK Doherty and Ellie Mooney are really good TikTok dancers. And I just have to I can't do it. I just sit back and watch because I have no dancing ability.
Are you on TikTok?
I am not on TikTok. My brother is a freshman, keeps trying to show me it, but I can't get into it. I don't know how it works.
I'm not on it either, so don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. Who has the best sense of humor?
Probably Bridget Dean, our goalie. She's 32. I'm 33. We're right next to each other in the locker room, and she's just so funny. Makes me laugh every day. I think she did improv classes at one point. She's hilarious.
That's great. Who is most likely to run for president on your team?
Run for president. So I think I would say Maddie Howe is definitely like most likely to be CEO in the future. And I think a lot of her skills in that could translate to being president. She's like a financial wizard.
Who is the player who has the most swag?
Most swag. Okay, so Hannah Dorney has been rocking these medical compression socks, like knee socks, and like practice games in the airport all the time. She wears these socks. And I think you have to have a lot of swag to pull those off. So Hannah Dorney.
I would agree with that. All right, last question. What is your favorite memory to date as an Irish?
So I think on the field would probably be beating UNC 2 years ago. It was the first time in program history. It was snowing, it was freezing. I don't really remember much of the game because I was so cold, but that was really cool. And then off the field, summer of 2019, our team got to go on an abroad trip. We went to Portugal, Spain, and Morocco, and that was such a great time being able to go abroad with those girls.
That's awesome. That's a great story. Okay, that's it. It was painless, right? We had fun.
Yeah, it was good.
All right. Anything else you want to share ahead of the UNC Notre Dame matchup on Saturday?
Nothing specific. Just we're really looking forward to it, to be able to challenge ourselves in the ACC. A lot of great competition.
All right. I'm excited. Well, we'll see you on the TV. We'll see you there. So good luck. And thanks again for joining.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Okay. Bye, Sam. Have a good one.